Hello everybody, my name is Gina Bianca and I am a salon owner here at the Network Salon in Southington, Connecticut. I'm also a color correction specialist of over 12 years. Today I want to share with you, if you're a guest especially, what you need to prepare for before coming and getting a color correction service. If you're a stylist watching this, I hope that this video helps you and is treated as a resource. You can send this video out to your clients, you can watch it and get inspired and prepared for your consultation services, and just some things for you to prepare for if you're going to be doing these complex and complicated services. Before we begin, I want to remind you to subscribe to my channel. I share a lot of education and I love YouTube. I'm just getting into it and I really want to be there for you guys and help you get prepared for and be confident for these services. All right, so let's get started. Here are some things to consider before getting a color correction.
All right, before we get started, everybody, if you are a stylist watching this, be sure to check out the Network Mastermind. I created a 6-video color correction course. It's super short and sweet and to the point, and it will help you get prepared for these complicated and complex services. It's going to teach you all about pricing, consultation, preparing your guest, the gifts of color correction, and so much more. You are going to love this series. If you haven't heard of my mastermind group, click the link below. Talk to you guys soon.
So the first thing I want to share with you all is that it is a luxury service. If you're a guest watching this, please know that color corrections are a luxury service. They are not cheap, and that you may be spending a pretty penny for your stylist time. It's very important to consider with a color correction that stylists, all we have for sale is our time. We're not giving you a result packaged up with a bow. We're spending our time where we could be doing 5 to 6 more guests during that time. So remember that these services are a luxury and they are expensive. So remember, if you have a hair job gone wrong, if you have maybe done something to your hair that needs to be fixed, or maybe you want to go from box dye black to platinum blonde, know that it is a color correction. It is a luxury service, and there's always another option to dye your hair black and cover it up. It is not anyone's God-given right to be blonde. It is a luxury service. If you're looking for a color correction, and even if you want to go only a few levels lighter, when you put the lightener on the hair, there's always a million things that can happen. So remember that even if you're getting a transformation service that's going from dark to light, you may be in the salon for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. It's really important to know that these services take time, require a lot of steps, and require a lot of commitment from your stylist. If the stylist that you go to doesn't post a lot of color corrections, maybe they post like really pretty like soft blondes and balayage, and they don't post a lot of dramatic color corrections, chances are they still can do it, but it's not their specialty. They don't have to do it, and you know, it's really stressful, time consuming, and mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually draining to do a color correction. So please be grateful if they even can do it or want to do it. Not every stylist loves them. Many stylists refuse to do color corrections. It's kind of like a tattoo artist doing cover-ups. You know, so if you have a stylist you see regularly and you do something to your own hair, or you want a crazy transformation and it's not what they normally specialize in or do, but they want to do it for you because they love you, be grateful that they're going to do it, and just know that they're stressful services. Color corrections are very stressful and anxiety producing. So typically when you are using box dye, or if you want to go from black to blonde, or if you have crazy things going on in your hair, maybe you have a vivid color that you want to get out, just know that it's not very predictable what's going to happen. And for stylists, that uncertainty when it comes to somebody's hair, which somebody's hair is usually their primary source of confidence, it's sad but true. A lot of people, if you take off more than 1 centimeter of their hair, they freak out. You know, as a stylist, it's really stressful to even do hair. It's really stressful to even go in and deal with people's emotions and their expectations and their budgets and their mood. You know, it's really difficult for stylists. So when you add in a color correction, please be patient with us, and please know that doing color correction is hard work. Color corrections are also exhausting and physically demanding, even for the client. So if you're sitting in the salon for 9-10 hours, if you're putting 200 to 300 foils in the hair, it is heavy on the neck. It's hard to sit there for a long time. And then put yourself in the stylist shoes who has been on their feet for 8 to 10 hours, breathing in chemicals, and it's non-stop labor. Typically, as soon as you're done putting the foils in, you have to go back in and reapply. And then there's no time to waste. Then you usually have to go rinse a section because it's done, and then you start treatments and toning. There is very little downtime in corrections. For a lot of services, when you apply, there's a long processing time. Color corrections, 9 out of 10 times, are very physically demanding. So if you're a client, please be patient and please be understanding, because you might be in the salon for 9 or 10 hours with heavy, heavy foils on your neck, it's weighing on your neck. You really should consider bringing a lot of snacks. Good stylists will provide you lunch. I always will provide lunch. And a lot of that factors into your hourly rate. If you pay a premium price for these services, chances are they add a lot of value. So really think about that. And if you have questions with your stylist about what that hourly rate includes, don't be afraid to ask. But remember, it's physically and emotionally draining. So it's exhausting at the end of the day. But if you want the color, that instant gratification, sometimes you have to do what no one else will do to get what no one else has. If you want to get a color correction, something I really want to share with you is you have to be understanding and know that sometimes you have to pivot. So sometimes you might be on your way to your goal and then something happens and the stylist is going to say, this isn't going to work. And it's really important to have plans A, B, and C. And in my mastermind group, we are working on this amazing class. It's all about the business of color correction, and it talks about having plans A, B, and C. So if you're a stylist, consider joining my mastermind group to learn from me, coach with me, and to enjoy all of my education, and to have an amazing community to support you. I've linked everything below, and it's called the Network Mastermind. So basically, don't be surprised if you're a client. If you go in expecting one thing and then as you go through the service, you have to pivot and you might have to come back multiple times for the end result to be achieved. Actually, about 90% of the time, the end result is not achieved in one sitting. Another thing to consider is that hair is already dead. Okay. Another thing to consider is that your hair is already fragile. It's only hair. Like, I can take it and rip it apart right now. So when you go in and do these heavy, heavy bleaching services, or if you go in and do these big changes, your hair is going to need time to heal. It's not just going to be willy-nilly normal as you leave, and you're going to have a recovery time. I always tell my guests, if they want to do a major color correction or a major transformation, there is a minimum of a 2-week recovery time where you are going to be scared for your hair. There are products that you can use, but when you're doing a color correction, if people tell you that it's going to be perfect, they're lying to you. So I would work with a stylist who's realistic and who is in touch with reality, because when you do these heavy bleaching services, no matter what miracle product you see on TV, your hair is going to need to heal. So if you want to go from, my hair is black, I'm going blonde next week and I'm really, really excited about it, but I know my hair is going to be dry. It's going to need love. I'm going to have to baby it. I'm going to have to be gentle, because if not, my hair is going to be like, goodbye, you're treating me badly, I don't want to see you anymore, and it's going to break or it's going to shed. And it's really important to know when you're doing a color correction that these things happen, and it's really, really important not to put so many big expectations. It's hair. So listen to your stylist, buy all of the products that they recommend, follow the regimen, and baby your hair. Brush from the bottom to the top so you're not ripping through it. Use treatments, use low heat or blow dry your hair once a week and leave it. Go to a salon for professional treatment and blow dry instead of blow drying your own hair for the first couple of months. These investments are realistic. It's hair. It's a luxury service. Go back to number 1. It is a luxury service. Another thing to think about is when you come into the service, we are going to do our best not to take on your vibe. But if you are nervous, if you're not trusting, if you have anxiety, if you are having stressful emotions, most stylists will take on those emotions and be really nervous. They're going to be more indecisive. They're going to question everything that they do, and they're going to be scared. It takes a very strong and confident stylist. Like, I've been doing it for 12 years. So when a client comes in and they're freaking out, I don't take it on. I try not to, because I know that it will affect my decision making. So that comes with 12 years of experience, okay? So if you're going to a stylist who has less than 5 years of experience and you're pressuring them and you're mean to them and you're coming with this like crazy anxiety that nobody can help you with, it's really hard for a stylist to do a good job. So if you can't manage your emotions and your expectations, I would rethink getting a color correction. Or I would do your absolute best to take care of yourself, practice good self-care, and to show up to the appointment with an open mind and to trust your stylist. And if you want black to blonde or a 10-hour transformation, and if you want things like this, you're going to have to accept that it comes with a cost. That cost could be shedding for a few months, rough cuticle, dry hair, damage, breakage, unwanted tones, so many other things. The sessions that you may need to get there could be 10 sessions. And if you don't have the budget to do it all at once, if you have a limited budget, it could take you a year to get to your result. And as you do it slower, if you do a correction slower, like say you break it up into 5 or 10 sessions because you don't want to pay for the big session, we're going to end up lightening you and then toning you darker and then lightening all that out and then toning it. And then it's going to add more time, money if you go in and you don't take the stylist recommendation. So really listen to the stylist and be prepared for all of this, because you might not want a color correction. You might be doing it 3 sessions in and then give up. And then you've wasted time, you've wasted money, you've damaged your hair, and your stylist is going to probably rip their hair out. So think about it. When you come to the space, you're responsible for the energy that you bring to the space. It is not the stylist's responsibility to manage all of your expectations and emotions, even though we do it anyway during correction. So please try to show up in a positive state of mind and trust your stylist. Now I'm going to tell you something that might make you cancel your color correction appointment, but if you are okay with all of this, then you're a good candidate for color correction. It's not for everybody. Some people are just like, oh my God, I didn't get everything I wanted in a small amount of time. But you guys, this is the reality of it, okay? There are great stylists, even me, who say these same things, you know what I mean? So it's just reality. If you have someone promising you the world, yes, that's amazing and that's very nice and it's very comfortable, but you might in the chair not like the result, and you might not be prepared for how many sessions or all of these things, and I want you to be prepared, okay? So something to think about is that you might do all of this and not like the end result. Or someone in your family, maybe your husband, maybe your sister, maybe your mom, somebody is gonna say something to you about like this big change, maybe your kids. I've had clients who change their hair from black to blonde and their kids don't recognize them because they're at the age where they're just like, oh my God. And then the mom will come in and make me feel like I did something wrong, but it's because like somebody didn't like it. So remember, there's always the chance of outside opinions, and you have to realize that it doesn't matter. The stylist spent their time. And if you have box dye, if you want a crazy transformation, if they tell you it's going to take more than 1 session, you have to know that the stylist's time is all that is for sale. So please don't ask for refunds. Please don't be upset with anybody if you have to go through a process, because this is a stylist's livelihood. All we have for sale is our time. When you're late, when you no-show, if you ask for refunds, when you don't let us fix it, this is our livelihood, okay? This is the way that we make money and put food on the table. And it's really important to remember that you might go through this whole process, and because it's such a drastic change, you might not like it. You might want something and it doesn't look good on you and you might not like it, right? You might want this ashy blonde color and your stylist is like, this doesn't look good on your skin tone, and you're just like, I don't care, I want it anyway. And then you might get through this whole process, hours and hours and hours, hundreds of dollars, tons of time, and you might be like, oh, it doesn't look good on me. So remember that these transformations are super crazy. I don't want to talk you out of it completely, but I want to prepare you. I want to prepare the world, and I want to make a stylist life easier by spreading this word about what color corrections are really like. Another thing is we can't guarantee your hair during a color correction until we've reached the desired result and maintained it once. So say it takes 5 sessions to get your hair blonde, I still wouldn't guarantee someone's hair because of color corrections, I can't guarantee the color's gonna last. I can't guarantee your hair's gonna be perfect. Perfect doesn't exist during a color correction. When we get you to the end result that you want and we have maintained it once, that's when I'll start doing my guarantee. Be like, oh, if there's ever anything that you need, if it fades or if it's whatever, just let me know and we'll adjust it for you complimentary, because most stylists will have a redo policy or a guarantee, but during color corrections, doesn't apply. Because we can't control, if you've put box dye on your hair, we can't control the outcome. We can try and we can use our expertise, but we just can't control it. I recommend budgeting $100 or more for the products that you need to take home and ask your stylist what's best for your hair. Be open to retail. If you go in and spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a color correction and you use $8 shampoo, it's not gonna work out for you. It's not going to be healthy for your hair. Your hair is going to be so porous during that time that whatever you put on it, it's going to suck up. So if you're not using quality products, your hair is going to take that in. It's like if you have a vulnerable immune system and you eat like shit. Okay, so really take into consideration what you're putting on your hair. Remember to use the product they recommend. Please use it, please invest. There is no point in spending a ton of money on your hair. The product is like an insurance policy. It is just so important. So please budget for products. Remember that there is no such thing as perfection when it comes to doing a color correction. So stylists who don't feel valued and who don't feel appreciated are not gonna do their best work. Don't be mean to your stylist if everything doesn't go perfectly. If your hair fades, if it doesn't get as light as it's supposed to get, if you have this expectation of like perfect Reese Witherspoon hair and you're not Reese Witherspoon and Reese Witherspoon doesn't box dye her hair. So make sure if you have these crazy expectations and these like unrealistic expectations, be kind to your stylist. You know, it's really, really important. And I know that like, you know, the customer is always right. And yeah, the customer is always right. But the stylist has to lay down these expectations and they have to lay down these boundaries. And many stylists like are not comfortable doing that because they just want you to be happy. They just want you to come back. They don't want you to be mad at them. They don't want you to hate them. So many stylists are afraid to say what's real. And many stylists think about like, you know, this is our livelihood. So when you're in our chair, we want you to be here. And if your expectations don't match what we can do, saying no is the hardest thing. So most stylists will say yes when they should say no, and then they end up going above and beyond for not enough money. They don't have the time or the budget needed to get what you need, and then it ends up being a complete and total disaster. So please, please, please respect your stylist, have realistic expectations, and be kind to them. All right, we're winding down now, but I also want to remind you to trust the process. If you found a good stylist who knows what they're doing, they know what to do, budget it out, make sure that you communicate with them, make sure that you trust them, make sure that you tell them any concerns that you have before you begin, and trust your stylist. We want your hair to be perfect just as much as you do. No stylist wants their guests to leave unhappy. No stylist wants their artwork to be scrutinized. It takes a lot of vulnerability and a lot of passion to even put our artwork out there in the first place. Plus, every stylist wants to have a great reputation. If things don't go perfectly, it's devastating for us too. But there's no such thing as perfection when it comes to color corrections. And I think every guest needs to know that. So please be realistic, be kind, and understand that we want you to be happy. Most artists and stylists are always putting other people first, and it's really hard for people who are always putting everyone before themselves to set healthy boundaries. So if your stylist is setting a boundary with you, like a price, pricing is a boundary. I will do this, but for this. That is my boundary. If you are beating them down on the price, asking for discounts, and not taking them seriously, if your stylist sets a boundary with you and you violate that boundary, that is a form of abuse. The same way if you did the same for somebody else. So remember, if your stylist is setting boundaries with you, with their business, with the expectations, with the price, all of those things, remember, setting boundaries is really hard. It takes a lot. So please respect your stylist, especially during a color correction, because there's gonna be times where there's a lot of boundaries set. In my experience, many stylists have a very difficult time pricing their services, and many stylists are undercharging by at least 30%. When your stylist gives you their price, that is their price. So the price is the price. It's really difficult when stylists are bargain hunting. If you want to bargain hunt, go on Groupon and figure it out. But if you have a respected stylist who is setting a boundary with you, remember, the price is the price. And you get what you pay for. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you love it, and I hope that if you're a client looking for a color correction, that you understand the risks. I hope that you understand that stylists are just human beings. We're doing the best that we can. Have realistic expectations and be kind. Understand that color corrections are a luxury service. They are not for everybody, and it takes time, money, patience, and kindness to get you to that goal. Your hair is gonna need to heal. It's just part of the game. I hope that you like this video, and when you go into getting a color correction service, talk to your stylist about your concerns and what solutions they may have. Stylists, if you're watching this, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you feel you can share it with your guests just to keep them like with those manageable expectations. And if you want to learn more about color correction, I have a beautiful 6-video series in my mastermind group that will help you, and so many color correction videos. In all of my color correction videos on YouTube, I share tons and tons and tons of tips and go through so many different situations, and it's pretty much like you're here assisting me. I hope that you love it, and I hope that you love this education. Please share it, and I hope you have an amazing day.